Passion Harvest. Hello, passionate listeners. Welcome to Passion Harvest, where we aim to inspire you to live a passionate life. My name is Louisa. I'm the host of your show, International Passion Ambassador. And if you like this show, please subscribe. I always say this, but I really mean it. I have an awesome guest on the show, Dr. Francesca Panzironi, and I can't wait to share her incredible story with you. Dr. Francesca Panzironi is the founder of the organization and serves as Chief Executive Officer of ANTAC. I'm not going to pronounce it. When we talk further, I'll ask Dr. Panzironi to detail it for me. Dr. Panzironi travelled across South Australia for over 4 years, from 2008 to 2012, collecting evidence of the current status of Aboriginal traditional medicine in community and clinical settings. The findings of her research are published in Hand in Hand Report on Aboriginal Traditional Medicines. Under the direction of the board, Francesca introduced a pioneering service delivery model to support the maintenance and practice of the 60,000-year-old Aboriginal traditional healing knowledge system. Francesca has created a range of services to reach out Aboriginal and non-Aboriginal communities, organisations and individuals across Australia and overseas. Dr. Panzironi is an international human rights academic who applied her knowledge and experience to create a platform for the recognition of the internationally recognised right of the Indigenous Peoples to maintain and practice their traditional medicines within Australia's national health care system. This is her story and this is her passion. Welcome, Dr. Panzironi. Wow, I can't wait to get started and dive into your incredible journey.
Thank you, Louisa. Thank you for having me in your show. I'm really honoured to be
It's an absolute pleasure. First, my pronunciation is terrible. What does ANTAC stand for?
Yeah, sure. ANTAC stands for Aṉangu, Ngangkaṟi, Tjutaku Aboriginal Corporation, which means it's a Pitjantjatjara language, which means the Aboriginal Corporation of all Ngangkaṟi, Aṉangu, which means, the Aboriginal people coming from the Central Desert area, basically in Australia. So, so that's the name that was chosen by the group of Ngangkaṟi with whom I have, started this adventure. And, at some point, they decided to, call this organization as such.
I have to ask you, obviously you're not from Australia, you're from Italy. What led you to the desert working with Indigenous peoples in the middle of Australia?
Yeah, well, I arrived in Australia in 2001 and I did some of my studies here, and I had no idea of what would happen in the future. So I didn't consciously came to Australia to embark on this pathway. So basically what happened is that after I completed my PhD in law at the University of Sydney, I started doing some research on Australian health policies in Aboriginal health. And I was very much surprised, I would say shocked, by the fact that in international literature and in national policy frameworks, there was no mention of Aboriginal traditional medicine. I was in particular looking at some international literature from the World Health Organization about Indigenous medical system and how the harmonization of Indigenous and complementary healing modalities within national healthcare systems. And it really, struck me the fact that in this particular resource, there were, this resource is an international, worldwide overview of TCAM, traditional complementary medicine around the world. And in the chapter on Australia, there was nothing about Aboriginal traditional medicine. So that's the starting point. Now, how did I arrive to the Central Desert? That's a kind of, a development from, the first steps I took in trying to find out what had happened that led to this, I don't know, just lack of recognition, acknowledgement of Aboriginal traditional medicine in Australia. So, yeah, I embarked upon, like a field research, and then, really, actually, more than it was a research, but really it was more a personal kind of
Passion.
passion, yeah. Because yeah, and unfortunately at that time, perhaps wasn't the right time, but I was not supported by the university in leading this research ideas. So I just did it on my own, and I just I think there is a lot to learn, and I just just took the initiatives to go and meet people in South Australia. So that's what it just, I have, as I was just inquiring and trying to, make sense of it, I met a lot of people from the Aboriginal communities, Aboriginal community controlled health centers, and they all pointed to the APY lands. Which stands for the Aṉangu Ngangkaṟi lands, which is a stretch of lands in the far northwest of South Australia. And then after, I think it took quite a while, maybe after a couple of years, someone, took me there, and and I met my friends.
It's amazing what you're doing. First of all, it's a very long way from law.
Yeah.
When you probably started studying law, you might think, there's no way I'm going to end up there. But I'm also thinking it's incredible that this wonderful Italian woman knows more about most Aboriginals or Indigenous Australians than Australians do. So I have to say thank you for, creating this incredible body of work.
That's my pleasure, really. I really did it out of my heart, I never thought that, to tell you the truth, that it would actually attract so much interest, and when I have, people like you who thank me for what I've done, and I don't know, it's kind of, like I don't really.
I think you just have to accept it. That's the thing about passion. And I always say, when you follow your passion and it's really exciting, you might not have the end goal from a commercial perspective or how it's going to come together. But I honestly believe when you follow what you love without thinking, this is how I'm going to commercialize it or this is what I'm going to do for work, you are always successful. So you still have to acknowledge that, somehow the universe has brought all this together for you and you're actually, being funded for this work.
Yeah, it's again, I didn't have a plan. Really, it was my curiosity to go and just find out what happened and whether there were still some Aboriginal traditional here in Australia. And eventually I did that. And but then, I didn't expect, the founding of an organization whose members are Aboriginal traditional here. It wasn't in my mind at all at the beginning. I had no idea. So it all developed, mostly out of friendship with the healers. We became friends, first of all, and I was living in Sydney at that time, working at the university, and so, every now and then they would call me and say, "Hey, Kunga," that's the way they still call me.
Sorry, what do they call you?
Kunga.
Kunga.
Yeah, Kunga, which means just a woman.
Oh, okay.
It has become my, personal name.
Right.
Along with other names, but so I think that now that I look back at what happened, I realized that they had a plan. I didn't have a plan, and because in our conversations there were, they started telling me, that they really wanted to travel and to heal people. I remember this very first conversation over a cup of tea. Well, they were asking me, "Who are you? Where do you come from? And why you are here?" And I said, "This is me. I come from Italy, and I do this." And I don't know, I just found very weird that there is not mention of traditional here in Australia. And actually you are here well alive. And I said, yeah, of course. Why? We have been practicing this healing tradition for since time immemorial, and we
Yes.
learned, like my father, my mother, my auntie, my uncle, my nana, and this is our country. We are the healers of this land, and nobody can take it away from us. So this is what they were telling me, and they wanted to travel and heal people and heal communities, and somehow they say, you're gonna help us to do this.
That's great. I love that.
That's how
And
everything.
what an incredible ambassador you are. So if you were to explain what ANTAC does, it helps integrate traditional, I don't know if you call it Aboriginal or Indigenous medicine into
Yeah, we call it
healthcare.
Aboriginal tradition. Yeah, yeah. Basically, the goal of the Ngangkaṟi was to be able to travel and to reach out people and work in the hospitals, because they were telling me, Kunga, we are bush doctors. We are like the doctors, but
Oh, I love that. I'm going to write that down. Bush doctors.
we are bush doctors, and we can we can heal, and we can heal in a way that doctors can't.
Mm-hmm.
They say, there are some things that we the doctors is better than us. So
Mm-hmm.
this, they always, and even now when someone comes and presents with some kind of pathology, and they're the first one to say, this is a clinic thing. You have to go back to your doctor because you need to take his advice and the medication. So they had, and they have a very clear understanding of what they can do and what actually the mainstream
Mm-hmm.
system has to offer. So, but so that's why I think it's very, very, this insight is very important, because I didn't know I didn't know anything, like really nothing, because I didn't know what kind of methods they were using. I don't know what kind of interventions, what kind of benefits. I don't know, but but that wasn't. I think at the beginning, it wasn't really that the point. I think the point was that I found unfair that there was this disregard of a body of knowledge, ancient knowledge. So my background is in international law, particularly human rights law. And, there are the UN Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous Peoples, clearly acknowledge, among other rights, the right for Indigenous people to practice and maintain their traditional healing practices. So even if it seems that law is not related, but actually, I came from, an international acknowledgement of traditional medicine,
Yes.
and realizing that it was not really happening in Australia. So, something should change. And when I met them, I said, oh, they're well alive. There are a lot, and they keep teaching to the children. Whether ANTAC will, go along, I don't know the future, especially now with this pandemic, that we are in the middle of this pandemic. I don't know.
Yes. Everything's kind
Well,
of paused, hasn't it?
everything is kind of paused, but regardless of ANTAC, no ANTAC, they will continue to pass down this knowledge as it has always been.
So you're almost, I forgot, I mean, there's a proper word for it, but you're almost like a transcriber. You're transcribing all this knowledge for this generation and past generations and future generations.
I think I feel like a bridge, maybe just, because I grew up in a mainstream society. I studied in, like just mainstream schools. And so I think that I find myself in a position kind of in the middle of, my world and their world. And
Right.
I found myself in kind of interacting with managers and health policymakers in the departments of health in South
Yes.
Australia. So I kind of was listening to them and listening to the Ngangkaṟi. And and I could see that they both wanted the same thing, but they couldn't find a way to realize that. So
A
that's
language almost.
exactly. So that's why ANTAC was founded, to kind of provide an avenue, a way for first for Aboriginal traditional healers to be employed, so that and to find a place in this society, particularly in the healthcare system, because I truly believe that they should sit within the healthcare system, not outside
Yes.
the healthcare system, because they have a significant contribution to make, for the health and well-being of people, which is different from, the contribution that the biomedical model can bring to people. So first of all, within the healthcare system, so that's why my effort since the very beginning to find ways to, to provide clinics and services into hospitals and
To integrate it.
integrated in a way that is not integrated in a way. There are different levels of integrations, but what the level of integration that we have developed, it's an integration which respects, the different knowledge system of the two.
The Western medicine as well, so not interfering with that.
No. So it's not an integration that blends the two systems together, but it's an integration which put on the same level of value the two systems. And because I think this is, for countries or states or communities, sometimes I get calls that they would like to do the same. They would like to have traditional healer programs in their communities. I think the first step is, to recognize that, the allopathic medicine and traditional, indigenous traditional medicine are founded on very different epistemological foundations. So the way they know what's the value system, the belief knowledge system behind is different. So it's an integration that also delineates some very clear boundaries between the two systems. And this is something, for example, that I learned very early when I traveled to New Zealand, and I was just researching, and I read that there were Maori practicing in primary healthcare system there. And so I went to New Zealand, and there was this small primary healthcare clinic, and someone told me that there was the Maori was actually working within that service. So I went there as usual, just I can't contain my curiosity, and and I went there, and just the setup of the clinic was really instructive, because there was the hall, and then the reception desk in the front, and then two rooms on the side. So on the right side there was the doctor consultation rooms, and on the left hand side there was the Maori consultation room. So they were just, I started talking to them, and they explained to me how the mainstream, the allopathic doctor would consult with the Maori.
Mm-hmm.
And it really, it's about giving choice to people, Aboriginal, non-Aboriginal, Maori, non-Maori, whether they want to try, the traditional healing practices and then go to the doctor, or go to the doctor first and then go to the
both. Yes.
Both, so it's a kind of a communication channel there. And
it's such an incredible, personally, I would love the opportunity. So I just wanted to ask you, is it only South Australia based, and is it being accepted by the government?
We are based in South Australia, and
Okay.
they come from an area in South Australia, but we do travel interstate across Australia. And actually, we have been invited also overseas, but we didn't have the resources to go. But basically, we provide the services in wherever there is a demand, really. And the demand has been growing with time. So we travel across communities in New South Wales, Victoria, Queensland, Western Australia. Yeah, we visit both, like public hospitals and community-based organization or land councils. So wherever there is a leadership, whether it's an Aboriginal community center or well, no, better said, an Aboriginal community-based organization or healthcare services,
Mm-hmm.
or a public healthcare service or hospital. So the issue is that to have someone within these institutions who is willing to open the door to us.
Right.
So so there are some doctors and healthcare professionals who, very warmly, welcome us in the structure because, they see it as a way to support indigenous culture. Number one, it's a way
Yes.
of supporting the connection with the community. And the one actually of the main outcome when we go interstate is that, the fact that there is a Ngangkaṟi at the hospital for 2-3 days, and the community can actually go there, the health staff can go and see the Ngangkaṟi, it really strengthens the relationship between the public, say the public hospital and the communities. I remember, for example, like one of the nurses said, I've never seen so many Aboriginal people from our community with a big smile on their face in the hospital. So I think it's a win-win situation. And yeah, I see it all the time when we
I
go.
think it's absolutely wonderful, and I would love the opportunity. But I just wanted to note for anyone that's listening, it's not only for Aboriginal people to attend, it's also for anyone to attend.
Anyone, yeah. And here in
Yes.
Adelaide, we have our Aboriginal Traditional Healing Center, where people can book in a session with the healers, and so anyone comes. We actually we had a lot of people from overseas, people who are visiting Australia, and they've learn about us. So yeah, we really see people from everywhere, and Aboriginal, non-Aboriginal, some other healthcare practitioners come. They want to try different modalities of healing. So yeah, it's a very varied range of people, which is beautiful.
Well, if I'm ever down in Adelaide, I'd love to come as well. And I understand from the type of healing, so the way that they work, please correct me if I'm wrong, and you probably know more than me, but it's a holistic approach. They don't only look at the physical body, they look at the spirit of the person.
Yeah. So the first, it's holistic in the sense that they hands-on intervention has, like a deeper level of intervention. So it's not just physical. So their main actual intervention, it's hands-on with this modality they call Impichanjara Pampuni, which is, touching the body and extracting, pulling out whatever it shouldn't be there. So it can be pain, it can be an inflammation, it can be a foreign object, it could be a blockage, energetic blockage, and so forth. So, but that intervention, it actually can have a spiritual or cultural origin or cause. And it's always connected to the spirit of the person. So one of the main intervention that the Ngangkaṟi actually do is to check whether the person's spirit is in the right position. So it's spiritual, and I see it like spiritual and practical at the same time.
Sure.
Because they see and they know that, we all have our human spirit, which is not outside somewhere, but it's within us. So the spirit lies in the center of our chest. And if it's...
Our heart.
Yeah, so over here. And they know that if it's not there, it can cause... different ailments from physical, from minor physical ailments to serious psychological pathologies. So So they can see, they can feel whether the spirit is there. So it's about mostly it's the position of the spirit. So the spirit actually can move around the body and can somehow go in other part of the body. So what they do is they actually, with the hands, they push. They can feel where the spirit is. Can be, once, for example, I can tell you my experience. Once I had my spirit
Sure.
here, like at the back of my shoulder. And suddenly I was here in my studio, and I just felt really bizarre, like spaced out, nausea, a bit dizzy suddenly. And I was here, so they were here, and one of the ladies came and I said, Margaret, just, I don't know, something, I don't feel well, I feel all dizzy. And she touched me, and she found my spirit was here. So she kind of, push, they manually push
With their hands.
the hand, they push the spirit back into the right position. And for me, at least, was just matter of maybe, 5 minutes, and I could already feel the difference.
How fascinating. I don't know if you know the question, but why does the spirit move?
Well, for different reasons. I think it can be for feeling of worries or stress, which I think was my case, because I was, I wasn't doing anything but just dealing with, day-to-day, stuff. And they always tell me, you're too stressed, you're
You're
stressed.
stressed.
Why you stressed, Kung? I said, yeah, because I have to deal with all things that you are not dealing with, but otherwise you're not going to function. And but it's the cause can be related to cultural issues, family issues. It can also be related to interferences from other spiritual entities.
Okay, like negative spirits.
Yeah, so which is, again, this is another concept which is foreign to our like allopathic mainstream system. So the Ngangkaṟi live, we can say that they can live simultaneously in 2 dimensions. So this one, and whether you want to call it spirit world or 4th dimension, whatever it is, but they interrelate with this other dimension in which there are spiritual entities who can be, family members who have passed away, or who just come and visit us, or visit people, or they can be, just unknowing spiritual entities who really annoying people to a point where they can develop psychological issues and psychological pathologies up to schizophrenia and all of that. So it really the cause can be physical, can be psychological, but can be spiritual in the sense of external interferences. Yeah.
Fascinating. And you mentioned it was men, women, children learn this sort of healing modality, but is it women that do the healing, or is it men as well? There's no gender, it's not gender specific?
It's not gender specific. So it's men and women. They learn through family lines. They pass it down from generation to generation, and not everyone is an uncle, of course, in the family. So when babies are born, they already know who's got the healing gift. So they're born with that. Even though sometimes, in a more mature age, some family members actually get the healing gift if they want to, or in some specific circumstances. So it's both men and women, and they sometimes I always try to have, when we go, especially when we travel, to have both a man and a woman, because for some particular issues, women business or men business, they call it, you need a man or you need a woman.
Okay.
You need both. You know, I've seen cases in which, for example, Debbie was healing someone, and then she said, you know, can you call Cyril? I need him as well. So sometimes, yeah.
It needs a balance of both the masculine and the feminine.
Yeah, someone does something and the other one, deals with other things. So
God, this is so interesting. I just love, you know, that we're spreading the word about this. So Ngangkaṟi, if I'm pronouncing it correctly, does that actually mean healer in some sort of terminology?
Yeah. Ngangkaṟi means healer in the Pichanjara and Nyangpunjara languages.
Okay.
Another one which I can't pronounce very well. So it's basically it's a term used in the central desert area, which goes across Northern Territory, South Australian and Western Australia. So of course different language groups have different names for the healer. For example, in north of Western Australia, the Mapan, it's the terminology used for the healer.
So there's different dialects.
Yeah, different languages.
Okay,
so
languages.
different terms, but it means healer. Yeah.
Fascinating. And I'm just was having a look that there's three main techniques. There's the smoking ceremony, bush medicine, or spirit realignment, which I guess was what you were describing before, the spirit realignment.
Yeah, bush medicine, relates to, you know, the use of plants, medicinal plants, as infusions or as balms, balms. I mean, I only know about the plant that mostly the Pichanjara people in the APY lands use. But I'm sure there must be a very rich variety
history
of plants all across Australia. I'm sure there is, but I haven't had the time so far to
You've been a busy lady. So just briefly, the I don't know if you call it bush tucker or the native indigenous plants, are they for external use and internal use as well that's prescribed?
Yeah. When you say bush tucker, this is a term more referred to food.
Okay.
Like
Sorry about that.
No, that's fine. So, which has, you know, it is a very important component in people's diet and health. So different kind of food from trees, fruits and kind of vegetables. For native plants, bush medicine. So the main one that we use also here, the ladies, they make their own bush rub. It's a plant called in Pichanjara Irmanka, and
I won't try and pronounce that right now.
Irmanka, and
Imanka.
they've used that since time immemorial in the community. So they always say bush, like medicine number one. So they've used it for, to relieve symptoms of cold, cough, as a tea, as a warm tea, or as a rub. Traditionally, they used to mix it up with animal fat and like a poultice. And today we use olive oil and bee wax, and we kind of cook it up. And so it's good for pain relief and for minor skin issues, bites. So it's actually I have a little bit of a lot of back pain today, and I put some.
I love it. It's fantastic. I mean, it's just so wonderful, this tradition, a 60,000-year-old, that it really should be preserved. It's just so incredible, aside from all the benefits. And I'm sure aside from yourself, you've seen many benefits of patients of the medicine.
Again, when I started and sometimes I think that how did I do that? Like without even knowing, I'm not sure if it's ever happened to you when you kind of know, but you don't know. Like
it has.
Instinctively, but not.
You know what's right. Is that what you're saying? Like you just know that's the right.
I had no
it's
idea.
called trusting your intuition, trusting yourself.
yeah. But with time, and we have seen now it's how many years, maybe it's 4 years, that 3 or 4 years that we are fully operating, providing the service, and slowly, kind of building up on on what we could do.
Mm.
And a lot of positive feedback.
I just wish there was one a bit closer to me, because I would love to come. What are the main challenges that I guess are facing ANTAC?
The main challenges is we are still a small organization. The main challenge that we face is support in terms of funding for an organization. I mean, as a legal status, we are a charity. We are a non-profit organization, and just a struggle to secure funding for the organization, to have a core financial basis
Yes.
to meet the demand, because I think we are in a situation that a lot of businesses would love to be we have a very high demand, but we are unable to meet the demand because we don't have enough resources, human resources. And so, if we had more employees to look after the Ngangkaṟi and to make travels, so we would each state, I think every month. So yes, this is actually the only aspect that still makes me sad.
Funding. So what would you like? What's your dream to see ANTAC be in the future?
Well, I would like to see the national health, Aboriginal health framework, and such as the Closing the Gap framework, to finally include the Aboriginal Traditional Medicine within the national framework, because I think until there is an acknowledgement at that level, it would be hard for an organization like ANTAC of traditional healers to secure the logistical support to be able to actually operate. So so my dream is to see that recognition at the national policy level, because that would mean that specific funding streams would be created, and to see Aboriginal traditional healing practices recognized within the Medicare system, so that you will give people the ability to access the Ngangkaṟi anytime at no cost.
That would be wonderful, wonderful. And as you said, you can't. You're one of those lucky businesses. You can't, get in. You've got too many people. You've got too many clients, but you just don't have the man skills or the people skills or the woman skills to assist.
Yeah, it's a kind of a, how do you call it here, catch-22, So there are a lot of Ngangkaṟi around. There is no shortage of healers, but in order for them to be able to travel from, most of them, they live in their communities up in the desert area. So imagine logistically.
So the travel is
a big effort. It's a big effort. So you need to provide them with travel assistance, and to make sure that they are safe and they can travel safe to reach out to different parts of Australia. So it's a big country.
so almost like having support people with them when they're traveling as well.
They always, they don't travel by themselves.
Okay.
So we always have one of us accompanying the Ngangkaṟi. So doing all that logistical, administrative support work that it's needed. It's just you can't think of. We don't let the Ngangkaṟi go. Actually, they don't want to.
Yeah.
Just go somewhere by themselves, and that's not what they want.
It's not how it works.
It's not how it works. So you need you need um, an organizational structure that support the Ngangkaṟi to be able to reach out, the communities of people who are in need, and for that, it's sometimes I think for the little resources we have had that we have that it's almost a miracle that.
You've done very well, but I understand that you need to create that framework, that to establish that foundation to move forward. But what I'm also hearing, there's two aspects to it here, and I think it's wonderful to support the Aboriginal Indigenous people and that incredible culture. But it's also changing mindsets that this healing modality actually does work. So I think, it takes a while, but I do know and I do feel it will come. It might take some time. Not every, you can't expect everyone to believe in it, because that's not how society has been created and how in our Western culture we've been brought up. But, we're changing and we're looking for the, alternative medicine. So there's that aspect as well. So you have two very important elements going for you.
Yeah, I think that it's very rewarding when someone comes out from the healing room and a big smile and like a big wonderful light in their eyes, and I don't know, most of people are almost they're kind of mesmerized, like I can't believe this is what, and most of people cannot articulate
what happened.
yeah, it's very interesting that they can't really articulate. They feel, they know there's things have changed. I mean, it depends case by case, because in case of pain management, it's really easy to feel and to assess. So a lot of people,
Yes.
I remember, for example, again example, there was a lady who came here and she has suffered for very, very strong migraine for, she said, since she was a teenager, so 40 years. And taking just, relying on painkillers. And she saw the lady, one of the ladies, and she came and said, I've got no headache at all now.
Wonderful.
See how long it lasts. And she popped in. She lives here, so she popped in here, and said, I can't believe it, I'm still fine after a month.
Isn't that fantastic?
And she called and said, I'm still fine after 3 months. I said, how did she do it? She contacted the doctor, asked, what happened? I said, well, I went to see this healer and it's all gone. There is also, like on NITV, there is a show on one of the women, it's an intervention in New South Wales, about a lady who had several strokes and she couldn't walk, if not with the what is called frame,
walking frame.
Yeah. And after the ladies did the healing on her, she's walking again. It's on YouTube, I think, through YouTube and ITV.
Okay.
Healing
And
time.
so are the results, is someone documenting their results?
Yes, I am collecting.
I know you don't have enough manpower, but woman power.
Well, actually, it is woman power.
It sure is. I don't know. It's just that,
If you leave
I'm just conditioned.
if you leave it to the man, oh God.
Yeah, no. Woman power.
It will come. It will be all collected and documented properly. Again, actually, this time that we had to suspend our service delivery because of the pandemic.
The current virus that we're going through, which is just,
so
a crazy world.
I know. So the Ngangkaṟi are home, and we decided, not to send the Ngangkaṟi anywhere for
Sure.
security. So, and I'm using this time actually to work on that. So it will come out at some stage when when I have the time to put everything together.
Dr. Panzironi, what an incredible story about following your passion, and I can't wait to follow your progress and ANTAC's progress. And just I'm sure you're going to be very successful. In the essence of time, is there something else you'd like to speak to the audience about?
Um, Maybe just I think that it's as you say, it's important to follow what you feel inside is the right thing to do at that moment, even if you don't understand why. I kind of walked in a tunnel, I knew that I had to go into that direction, but I had no reasons backing that up. But I did it, and now I'm happy I did it because I couldn't even imagine in my dreams of what would the result would have been. So yeah, I'm just sharing this story, and I hope that yes, someone who might be listening may take the decision to follow their passion and just go for it, even if you don't know exactly where you are going and what the results will be.
That's wonderful. And thank you so much. Look at all you've achieved. I'm just honored to speak with you. And again, I just want to say thank you for, creating this sort of database of Aboriginal Australian history. So thank you very much for being on Passion Harvest.
Thank you, Louisa. Thank you for everything.
Bye, Dr. Panzironi. Bye.
Yeah, bye.